Guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing amazing and having a lot of fun. So first of all, I have not been active on YouTube since a month or maybe 2 months now, and that's because I've been supremely busy all this time, but I tried to be as active as I could on Instagram. So yeah, I've been posting a lot of stuff on Instagram lately. I've been sleeping at 3:30 in the morning and waking up at probably 2 in the day, so my schedule has been definitely very much affected because my mom isn't doing very well and I had to take care of her. Like I said, I was supremely busy these 2 months, and my entire time management and even my sleep schedule, everything was absolute shit. So I decided to take a pause and take a deep breath and just let it be. But now I am going to try to be as frequent and consistent with my videos on YouTube as I possibly can, because my workload is slowly shifting. And yeah, that's about the little update on my YouTube disappearance all of a sudden. And yeah, now coming back to today's video, I have 3 eyeshadow palettes to review, and these are the 3 9-color Nicka K eyeshadow palettes. And can I just say, when I saw these palettes on the website, I was like, these are going to be very miniature, but these are not that small. Like, this is half the size of my face, and on the website it looked very small. I would probably add a picture, but this is like a nice pan size and a pretty decent size for an eyeshadow palette. I got these palettes around my birthday. My mom gifted these to me, and she ordered these palettes on, I think, Hawk Makeup or HOK Makeup, however it is pronounced. She ordered it on their website, and they had an amazing offer going on back then. I don't know if it is still available. I'm going to check and probably pop it on the screen if it is available. But through that offer, you could pay only $9.99 for all 3 of these palettes, which is an amazing deal because a single palette in this range retails for around $5.99 or $4.99, and you get 3 palettes for $9.99. I think it's a steal. Now I'm going to be reviewing these eyeshadow palettes in depth because I saw a lot of Instagram influencers, everybody was talking about it on their stories, and a lot of makeup tutorials were made for these palettes. And I think the entire thing with everybody talking about it at the same time was because Hawk Makeup decided to send PR to a lot of different influencers all at the same time, around in the same week. I mean, it works amazing. I was super fascinated to see everybody trying these same palettes, and I was like, I need these palettes. I completely forgot to mention, I have the shades Under the Sea, and then I have Poison Apple and Sugar Plum. I don't really go for very pink tones on my eye, but now that we have this palette, I think I'm gonna use the Under the Sea palette because I'm thinking more of a sunset moment, and this has all the colors that I can use for a sunset look. This one looks like a foiled shadow in the pan, and the rest of the 2 are basic shimmers. Let's see how these palettes really perform and what the hype is actually about. Just noticed one thing, that these eyeshadow palettes on the back have a little guide on what shades can be used as a blush. And for example, this palette, this is the Poison Apple one, and they claim the first 3 shades are only eyeshadows. These 2 are also eyeshadows, but this one is a blush, which is definitely not a blush because it's a shimmer shade, that too a very purplish sort of a shade, which I cannot use as a blush, by the way. And all these 3 shades in the bottom can also be used as blushes, which again, this shimmer shade is very highly shimmery, which actually looks like a foiled shadow again, like the one that we just saw in this palette, the corner one. This one is again the same formula. It seems like the same formula, and I would definitely not use it as a blush, but the rest 2 are pretty decent options. And yeah, for the Sugar Plum palette, they claim the corner shades, all the 4 corner shades are blushes, which again, super foiled shadows cannot be used as blushes according to me. If you are into these shimmer blushes, go for it, but definitely not me. But these 2 pinks might work good as blushes. And on this palette, all the shades are mentioned to be used only as eyeshadows. None of them can be used as blushes according to them, but I think this orange would look pretty good as a blush, I would say. If you are eyeing on these palettes and you want to know how these palettes perform, then please keep on watching. And yeah, let's jump right into the video. I'm going to start by priming my eyelids, and I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. And yeah, I'm gonna just quickly dab a little bit of concealer on and prime my eyelids. Also, I have recently started using only brushes for my concealer, not just on the eyelid but also under the eye as well. And I think it gives out so much more coverage than a blender, and it does not leave any streaky marks whatsoever. I used to always be very, scared of using brushes for concealer because concealer is comparatively thicker than your foundation and everything, but now that I've started using it, it isn't really bad, or maybe it isn't bad at all, and it's actually much better than a blender because it gives out much more coverage. So I have primed my eyelids completely, and I think I'm going to set them as well. I always set my eyeshadow base with a little bit of powder, and a lot of people do not recommend doing that, but I think my eyelids are very oily, and if I leave it on and start working in with my eyeshadow without setting it, then my eyeshadow is going to crease very badly, and that's not something that I want. So I'm going to quickly set it a little bit. I am super duper interested in seeing how this shade performs. It looks beautiful and very, very foiled. Should we do a little swatch? I think let's do a little swatch. It's super duper beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna try and try to spread it to see how it feels. Feels like butter. Literally feels like butter. This is a beautiful shade. I am using it on the lids. There is no going back now. I'm also interested in seeing how the shimmers swatch, even though I'm not someone who believes that swatches more than eyeshadow application, but I'm still gonna swatch it just to see if it's the same formula. Definitely not the same formula. These two are more of the shimmers, and this one was more of a foiled shadow. Weirdest swatch you've ever seen, but it works. I'm gonna start by taking this shade on a fluffy brush. Okay, there's a lot of kickback on the pan. Not sure if you can see it, but it does pick up a decent amount of product at one go. Looks pigmented but powdery. I'm gonna start by putting it right on my crease. Hella powdery and a lot of fallout, but I don't really mind fallouts as much because if it's working well on the eye, it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to pick up this yellow shade on a smaller blending brush, and again very powdery but seems pretty pigmented as well. I think it's going to be the same quality. That's not a bad yellow, but it's definitely not the brightest yellow of all times. I think I'm going to switch to a bigger fluffy brush. I'm going to pick it up on that. I'm going to place it right above the shade. It's looking pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm gonna go back to the first fluffier brush that we used for this shade, but I'm gonna dip into this shade right here to see if it deepens up a little bit more. Okay, it looks pretty darn pigmented, but it's definitely darker than the previous shade, and it looks pretty decent. I think the more we blend, we're losing the yellow. Like I said, the more you blend, the more you lose the yellow. So I have to go back in, I think, with the thinner brush, because I don't want to wait for 15,000 years and do the same process over and over again. I'm going to go over the edge right on top. Yes, that's okay. That's looking pretty now. Yeah, that's looking prettier. So it's just a little bit more powdery than I expected it to be. If I knew it earlier, I would have not set my base because I am not used to using such powdery shades, but it doesn't come out bad at all. I'm gonna take a pointy brush like this and I'm gonna pack this purpley cool toned shade on the very outer edge. I'm gonna just place it outward. I'm just packing it. I'm not trying to blend at all. I'm gonna take the purple shade again on this brush and see if this packs it better, because the pencil brush wasn't really working out as well. So I picked up a lot of product and this should pack well now. I'm packing it right on the outer V. I'm flicking it out like this. Not gonna lie, I expected it to be a lot better. So I'm picking this purple shade from this Sugar Plum palette and I'm going to use it on the outer V because that previous purple shade wasn't deep enough for the outer V. So I'm going to pack this one now and see if this makes it work any better. This purple is better than the previous one. I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush and I'm going to just try and blend it out. I think I'm going to cut the crease to add this little shimmer, even though this shimmer is going to look just as beautiful without any cut crease, but I want to add that extra little, something to our sunset. So yep. So I'm using the same pencil brush and just dipping in. Also, you want to make sure that you do not pick up a lot of product after the cut crease, because if it gets messy, then your entire cut crease is going to get messy. So pick up a good amount of product and I'm going to start slowly by the end and then I'm going to flick it inwards. So look at it. Now that I'm going slowly inwards, it's getting more deepened up. This is the pigment that I wanted right from the beginning. So I think the next time I'm using this palette, I'm going to keep in mind that I don't have to set. I'm being very, very soft with the brush and I'm trying to just flick it inwards to see more of that blend. Now coming to the star of the show, this shimmer shade which swatched beautifully. So I'm going to take a flat brush, but I like to take angular flat brushes, like somewhat like this. So this is angular but it is beautifully flat. These help with a really precise application over that cut. So this is a foiled shadow and foiled shadows usually do have fallouts, and yeah, this one has too, but not something crazy. So I have coated my brush generously and now we're going to see how it performs on the lid and start pressing it on. Isn't turning out as bright on the eye as compared to the swatch, and this is the reason why I do not trust swatches. So as you can see, it is lifting the pre-settled shimmer, which is so weird. I'm going to go back once again. This is not alright. I've swatched it with the brush and it's not even nearly as pigmented as it was with fingers. It's just not as pigmented as I thought it would be after the swatches, because you saw the swatch, right? It was stunning, but looks fine. It does layer up, but I think this is the pigment that I wanted in the very first go after I swatched the shade, but you need a lot of layering with this shade. I'm just going to quickly clean out the edge of the outer V. Now for the lower lash line, I am again going for this orange shade first, and I'm going to take it in a brush like this. This is again angular and flat, but it's a little fluffier than the one that we used for the cut crease shimmer. So I'm picking this yellow again. And now I'm just going to give my lashes a little coat of mascara. I'm using the Maybelline Hyper Curl, and I'm just brushing them in. So I'm not going to go heavy handed with the mascara because I am going to pop on falsies. Alright, so the mascara is on, and now I'm going to quickly go off camera, do the other eye, and I'll be right back with my final thoughts. Alright, so the other eye and the base and the lips and the lashes, everything is on, and the lashes that I'm wearing are from Kingdom of Lashes in the style Star Wars. Now let's talk about my final reviews on this palette. If you buy it under this offer, if this offer is still available, where you get these 3 palettes for $9.99, then it's not a bad deal. But if you go on buying a single palette, which is for approximately $6.99 or $5.99, then I don't think these are worth it. There are a lot of more affordable eyeshadow options which have amazing quality, beautiful pigmentation and everything on point. Like for example, Wet n Wild and Makeup Revolution and brands like these have amazing. Even Makeup Obsession has launched on Hot Makeup, so maybe try picking out that one instead of this one if you're picking a single palette. The mattes you'll have to build up, which is not a bad thing, because I used to, as a beginner, I used to never like supremely pigmented eyeshadows because one tap and it's done, you know, it's just there. So as a beginner, I would have loved these palettes because you can just build them up and just go over them as many times as you want. And yeah, if you're a beginner, go for these palettes. So this shimmer is disappointing, and I hate to give bad reviews even on Instagram. If I don't like something, I don't even talk about it, but I was so excited for the shimmer, and it's like genuinely my disappointment peeking through. But at the same time, these are not the worst shimmer shadows or foil shadows I've ever seen. I have experienced much worse shimmer shades, so it's not the worst of all, but it's not the best of all as well. So if you're interested in buying these, I would leave a link down below in the description, so you can just go tap on it and check it out. And if you'd like to see me more often, then please go ahead and follow me on my Instagram. So that brings me to the end of the video. If you liked this little review, make sure you share it with your friends and family who you think are eyeing on these palettes from Nicka K. Let them know about this review just so they can get a better understanding about the product. And that's pretty much it. I hope you have an amazing day or night, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.